Zoraya Beek lives in a small village and is scheduled to be euthanized in May, despite being in love with her 40-year-old boyfriend and living with 2 cats. I like the phrasing of this sentence, like having a 40-year-old boyfriend as a 28-year-old woman and having 2 cats is some kind of like necessary barrier against being suicidally depressed, you know? Like, despite that, she decided to be euthanized after her doctors told her there's nothing more we can do for you, it's never going to get better. Did they really say that? In those words, that's a lot. Her plan is to be cremated. I did not want to burden my partner with having to keep the grave tidy, Terbeek texted me. We have not picked an urn yet, but that will be my new house. She added an urn emoji after house. Maybe there is no saving her. All right. She recalled her psychiatrist telling her that they had tried everything, that there's nothing more we can do for you. It's never going to get any better. I don't know. This is just like an anecdote on an anonymous statement. I don't know. It's conjecture. I don't really know if there's anything. Like, respectfully to this lady who I sympathize with very much and I feel very bad for her, but I don't know how much I can trust, yeah, the input of a suicidally depressed person. She could just be paraphrasing. Lost in translation? Could also be lost in translation, yeah. Can the doctor be held responsible a bit if that was true? I don't know. It's just an offhand anecdote. A person said, there won't be any funeral? Oh. Well, this is all very sad. I just wonder why this is being reported on. Terbeek is one of a growing number of people across the West choosing to end their lives rather than live in pain. Pain that in many cases can be treated. On a serious note, how do you feel about the right to die? I mean, if you think about it for 10 seconds, you have to remember, yeah, people probably should have the right to end their life. I don't know how I feel about this whole medical, you know, like this whole institutionalized, like with the appointments and the blah-de-blah. I don't know. It's weird. But people have been killing themselves for literally all of human history. The issue that I have, I guess, is for one, you know, even if it shouldn't be illegal, I really don't think it should be legitimized. And two, even if it's legal, you have to like really push people to not do it. Because, and this is important to remember, depression makes you stupid. Depression is a brain disease that makes you think dumb things. So, you know, it's not always there forever. You can push against that. Also, it's treatable. It often is. You know, sometimes it is, you know, it is like absolutely dire. But most of the time, the overwhelming majority of the time, yeah. You know, you hear those stories of people getting like a head injury and then, you know, they get crazy suicidal and something just wrong is set in their brain or whatever. That's the minority of cases. I see a phenomenon, especially in people with psychiatric diseases, especially young people with psychiatric disorders, where the healthcare professional seems to give up on them more easily than before. That's also a very real concern, you know? I would never, ever, 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 ever want a doctor to go like, yeah, shrug. I don't know. Guess you should die. Yeah, like, I don't think that's happening as often as a lot of people are claiming it does in media, but I wouldn't want it to happen at all, obviously. In these years, from 2005 to 2014, I saw the Dutch euthanasia practice evolve from death being a last resort to death being a default option. Is that true? A default option? Okay, I reject a lot of the alarmism here because I know that there's an incentive in conservative media circles, the free press, by the way, for free people. Witch trials being the second, yeah. There's an incentive for conservative media to promote this as some kind of like civilizational suicide thing. Hence, the West. What does that mean? The West? This mostly gets talked about in the context of MAID in Canada. The West? So we have Canada and the Dutch. Okay, yeah, the West is dying. We get it. In 2001, the Netherlands became the first country in the world to make euthanasia legal. Since then, the number of people who increasingly choose to die is startling. That's how you're ending the article. Startling. Got any numbers? Just, oh, lots is happening. Oh, really? Would you like to substantiate that in any numerical, empirical way, please? At all? Just a little bit? And then that's getting reported on in this very trustworthy New York Post article, of course. And it seems like it just repeats the content of the article. Oh, the New York Post really stepping up and adding some numbers. In 2022, there were 8,720 euthanasia deaths in the Netherlands, representing roughly 5% of all the country's deaths. All right, I'll admit, that's quite a bit. But here's the question I want to know. How much of these are sad stories? Because look at the next story. In February, The 93-year-old former Dutch Prime Minister Dries van Acht and his wife died hand in hand by euthanasia. I don't know. 93-year-old and his wife being ancient, deciding to die together? I don't know. That, to me, that's a more, like, it's sad, like it's bittersweet, but, you know, that, I don't think that's like, what people are concerned about here is like young people or people, you know, who are super depressive or poor or whatever, going for suicide. So I want to know, like, you know, how much of this is that or the other? Maybe not, Child of the Gods. Medically assisted suicide in Canada is offered as an option instead of actual help for disabled and depressed people. I know a 25-year-old wheelchair user. He tried to get government aid to get a chairlift installed. They said, no, but we can kill you if you'd rather that. Okay, I don't advocate for that. Isn't it against policy made in Canada for them to bring it up on their own? Well, isn't that explicitly against the rule that the doctor can't bring it up themselves, but the patient can bring it up and then the doctor can talk about it? I mean, officially? Like, what would the incentive be for a doctor to go, yeah, we can't get you a chairlift, but you can kill yourself? Like, seriously, what is the incentive there? Why would they do that? He has a quota to fill? No, he doesn't. That's not, they don't have a money? What money? I don't think they have eugenics quotas. I'm sorry. They're lazy and it's easier for someone to be dead than to help them take care of them. No. You're being irrational. Think for a second. It's a doctor. Their job is when people come in, not when they die. That's not the job. It's not a laziness thing. I don't understand. That's completely rational. You know how shitty doctors can be, dude. Come on. No, it is not completely rational to go, oh, doctors are lazy, so they'll say kill yourself. I don't think that, I don't follow that logic. I don't think that, I don't understand. The doctor gets paid, presumably, for doing their job. If a person kills themselves, they can't come in and give them work anymore, right? I don't understand. When they said he wasn't eligible for chairlift funding, he asked if he had any other options, and they said, well, yes, made. Okay, well, that's indefensible, of course. You must have some good doctors, Vaush. I'm happy for you. It's true. My doctors have never told me to kill myself. That is true. You know, sorry for not checking my not having had my doctors tell me to kill myself privilege. You know, my apologies for being presumptuous. I guess that's not, you know, afforded to the fine people up there in Canada anymore. Doctors can be irrational too. Come on. 1,000 dumplings. Notice how you went from come on, that's rational to come on, they're irrational. The number of deaths by euthanasia has been increasing by about 10% a year. Most euthanasia requests are carried out by people who have cancer, but last year 288 dementia sufferers were helped to die, a rise of 34%. 58 were part of a couple who chose to die together. In 115 cases, people with severe psychiatric illnesses were helped to die, the same number as 2021. Some background of that story. For any international followers, this Dutch woman, interviewed for this story, has stated that she is deeply upset by the way her story has been used and twisted by the Free Press for what she felt was a negative article. She has deactivated her account. Thank you, Free Press. Great way to treat a suicidally depressed woman. Well, is there an alternative narrative here? Oh, here's one. Geen eens woorden voor die erg in dat die laatste weken van je leven. That's pretty true. Twisted the story. Well, what's the story before it got twisted? I don't know. Look, this whole business is very sad, and we are having a rise in suicidality because people watch the video. The video is from the Free Press. It would contain the same twisted story that they're referring to. We just read the article version, presumably. It's all very sad business. You know, and there is a rise in suicidality. I don't deny that, or improper behavior from Canadian or possibly Dutch doctors. I don't know. It's pretty grim. From a civilizational perspective, you don't want people to kill themselves, especially not when they're young, because it represents a misallocation of social resources. You have any idea how much the state loses out in a citizen who gets education and a free ride until they're 18 and then checks out? It doesn't make sense from an economic point of view either. So, like, would you let a young slave kill themselves? Well, yeah, that's the thing. No. Like, even slaves were kept from suicide in most cases, because why would the owner want them to kill themselves? You know? There is a sort of, like, uniform interest. Yeah, OBS is being a goofy goober today. I'm sorry. Yeah. I saw. Let the F's out. Yep. Thank you. All right. Okay, we're back. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just, making the point that it should be in everyone's interest to promote happy citizenry. It's not like a cruel calculus being made by the, barbaric upper classes. Nobody benefits from this. Here's a screenshot of the original tweet she made about the Free Press article. She twisted my words. She made factual mistakes in the piece. She made me believe the piece would highlight how strict Dutch euthanasia law is compared to Canada's. But I feel betrayed. It is a piece of pulp. I feel used. This piece is not what we agree on at all. Theo Boer and Steph Groenewood are both Christians. That has an influence on how they feel about euthanasia. I know overseas euthanasia is still seen as murder based on misinformation, fear, or beliefs. This piece is not helping at all. Really disappointed in this journalist and this paper. Well, like I said, great way to treat a suicidally depressed woman. Phenomenal stuff here. Really Christian behavior. Hopefully she decides to keep living out of spite. Yeah, my understanding is that the Dutch, the system is quite a bit more strict than in Canada. It even says down here, to be qualified for euthanasia in the Netherlands, the patient must be experiencing unbearable suffering with no prospect of improvement. 2 doctors must also be involved and meet detailed criteria covering duty of care. That definitely is stricter than Canada.